All right, it's Ed Ball here, author of What I Learned in the Streets and in Prison that can help you win at the game of life. And we're going to do a lesson over chapter 21. And chapter 21 is alternatives used as deception. So people use alternatives nefariously. So when I say alternatives, I basically mean, like choices. And some people use alternatives to blackmail you. So my advice is to do if you're doing something wrong, do it alone. But preferably, if you are thinking about doing something wrong, just avoid it. Because what happens is, most of the times when we are engaged in something we ain't got no business doing, we are doing it with somebody. And what happens is they can use that down the road as blackmail or as a get out of free jail card. And so speaking with regards to a nefarious use of alternatives, somebody might say, well, you either do A, or I'm going to tell everybody what we did over here. And I know this is kind of something that seems to be happening in the media right now. All right, so another thing people do is they use reverse psychology. And what they do is they give you the option of doing one thing and make it seem as if that is in fact what they want you to do, or what they think that you should do. But they already have a line on you, kind of understand that you're the type of person that probably goes against anything anybody says. So you do the opposite, which basically means you do what they really wanted you to do to begin with. So to, I guess, avoid being a victim of reverse psychology, you just have to have an understanding of what it is that you actually want, what's in your best interest. It doesn't matter what anybody else is trying to get you to do. All right. And another nefarious use of alternatives is dress up. Some people dress up the alternative that they want you to choose, make it look so good that you can't do anything but jump on it, unless you do some sort of analysis, and whatever it is, run the numbers, run whatever it is you have to run to determine which alternative is best for you. So if you don't do the analysis, somebody's going to dress something up and make it look good, and then you're going to jump on it to probably your own detriment. And then another nefarious use is what I call the final destination. So what happens here is a person basically kind of utilizes vertical diversification, or they may use vertical diversification, but final destination is where they basically make all roads lead back to them. So whatever you choose, you have to come back to them. You have to go through them, or they're going to benefit from it. And it's kind of like so in the case of vertical diversification, let's say you have a shoe manufacturer, somebody who manufactures shoes. So what they can do is cut out the middleman with regards to supplies, and then they buy up or create their own supply business to supply their manufacturing process, and then on the other end, they buy retail stores to sell the shoes that they manufacture. So they can, have a lock on the industry. So in the industry, all roads basically leads back to them, because let's say they bought up all the retail spots. Let's say they bought up all the supplies that even other manufacturers use and to supply their business, and even supply retail outlets that they use to sell what they manufacture. So you just have to be aware of that final destination and vertical diversification. You might want to use vertical diversification in your own life, though. All right. So how do you nullify the nefarious? Well, by problem solving. And an example that I can give, well, an example that I will give is creative financing. So let's say, you have an opportunity to buy, let's say, a house. Now, one tactic that you can use, or one alternative that you may be faced with, is getting a loan from the bank for this amount of years or whatever. And now you're kind of locked in for 20, 30, 15 years, this, that, and other. But you can come up with some sort of creative financing, whether it's it could probably be on another property where you do wholesaling. You hold, flip, and then you generate enough funds to buy a property that is free and clear. But you just have to have that problem solving ability to open up doors that gives you a wider range of alternatives to choose from. Or if you have a vision, then you can basically build your own roads. You can create your own alternatives, build your own. Well, if you have a vision, you can set yourself up to where you're not limited to the alternatives that somebody else places before you, because you are creating your alternatives. You're creating your own means to get things done, so you don't have to rely on somebody else's alternatives that they presented to you. So a recap. Basically, I would say that people nefariously use alternatives. So you just have to be aware. You have to always be in a excuse me. You always have to be in a problem solving mode and in a visionary mode. All right, so this is Ed Ball. We just finished up chapter 21 in this Win the Game video series.